Our theme this month is reconciliation. Reconciliation. You know, these themes are given to me months and months in advance, so this was probably chosen like 12, 14 months ago or something like that. And I'm always amazed when time rolls around as to what the current events are with the themes. And it's like, of course. We would do reconciliation right after a bitterly contested election period. We do reconciliation right before we go into the holidays. I mean, there's any number of reasons, but of course, reconciliation. And my topic today is the intent to reconcile. The intent to reconcile. So before I even start talking about what reconciliation is, let me talk to you about intent. Intent is where it all lines up from a spiritual standpoint. It doesn't mean the way we usually think of it in popular something of, well, I intend to blah, 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 which is usually forewarning, don't hold me to it. Because, you know, stuff happens. But I want some credit for going in that direction, thinking I'm going to. But, you know, there's no accountability there because I only intended to. That's how we usually use intent. Or at best, we make intent, once again, a goal. It's like an objective. It's something that's out there, external from me. Catch that. Our intent we usually make external. It's something we're chasing after, trying to accomplish. But the place of intent is deep within. There is nothing external about intent. Quite the contrary, intent is where all of you come together. Your words, your deeds, your thoughts, your emotions, your motivations, your dreams, everything lines up. Most of us are at cross purposes. We say one thing, we're thinking something else, we do yet something that's different than what we're thinking or saying, and we could feel something that is none of the above. And then we wonder why the results in our life are so scattered. I got a witness. We contradict ourselves. We neutralize our own prayers with our doubts. We affirm 30 seconds, and then we talk about how bad it is for the next 30 hours. My grandmother used to talk about the cow that gives a good bucket of milk and then kicks it over. We neutralize. Because of our cross purposes, it's like we've got our foot on the gas and our foot on the brake at the same time and wondering why we ain't going nowhere. This place of intent is where it all comes together. I want you to catch that. Where what comes out of your mouth and what you're thinking and what you're feeling, where you are spending more time trying to reconcile that, to bring it all together so that you are moving in one direction. If it feels like you're being pulled this way or that way, it ain't personal. It's not personal. That's the human condition. That's the human condition. Your ego self is always warring with inside itself, pulling you this way, pulling you that way. It's often depicted as a little angel on one shoulder and a little forked devil on the other, like whispering in your ear, trying to pull you different directions, but all of that's inside your head. There's nothing external pulling you this way or pulling you that way. It's all in your head. So this intent is not only the place where it all pulls together, but that place of intent is in front. We miss this so often. We think of reconciliation as something we do after the fact. See? Well, if there's a division between us, then we need to reconcile. But I'm not even going to think about reconciliation until there's something to reconcile. Catch that. We do the same thing with forgiveness, where we don't even conceive of forgiveness until after the fact, till after we think there's something to forget. But if you move through life with the intent to forgive, woo, check that out. You're not waiting for stuff to happen. You've already made the decision before anything happens that there's no Velcro on you. You have already made the decision before anything happens that you're not going to stay stuck in judgment and blame and freedom. You've made the decision before it happens. And if you make that decision before it happens, it appears to be less to forgive. The intent to reconcile has to be in the front, not afterwards. In the front, not afterwards. When we think of reconciliation, we're usually thinking of reconciliation as simply two warring sides that are somehow at odds with each other, and how can we bridge the gap of the sides? That's a dualistic model. And if we're still thinking of it as sides that have to be bridged, there will always be another bridge to build. Because there'll just be different gullies, valleys, crevices, things that seem rivers between you, mountains. There'll just be another one. Because the construct itself of you over here and me over there always means there's going to be something between us. So this morning when I was going to my spirit definitions, and reconciliation wasn't on this long list that I've been getting, so I just sat in meditation for a while. You know, with these definitions, there's always a formula. There's always something that we have to bring to the table that meets something that's already there. And it's an activity that takes place. The spiritual qualities are not things that we chase after. They are states of being that we must come. So reconciliation cannot be something external that we're trying to do, but reconciliation must be something that we are. We must be it before we can manifest it. So it described this place of reconciliation. It said there are these two things that come together. And then it describes the verb activity that brings these things together. It said, when your individualization, catch that, that's not even about something being wrong. But just the process of individuating, just the process of thinking of ourselves as separate and distinct entities starts to set up the stage for there being some kind of rifts or differences of opinion. So it says when that individuation, when that sense of yourself as a unique individual, when that seeks to honor. I'm not even going to tell you what's on the other side of that yet. Seeks to honor. What does that mean to honor something? When you honor it, you recognize it, you appreciate it, you make room for it. There's some kind of way where you're trying to make certain that it survives. When you honor it, there's some kind of way that it becomes a part of you. It's not just this external something, that you're seeking to do this. You're not chasing after it, but seeking in earnest to honor. So it said reconciliation is that place where your individuation seeks to honor your collective oneness with me. Where your individuation seeks to honor your collective oneness with me. This is where we get off on reconciliation all the time. Reconciliation is not about the two sides. The reconciliation is about transcending the sides and understanding the collective oneness. It is not reconciliation until at some point within you there doesn't appear to be sides. It's not reconciliation. Now, I'm not talking about differences of opinion. There can be a lot of differences of opinion. But differences of opinion in and of themselves do not cause conflict. Polarization causes conflict. Your conflict is never your difference of opinion. Your conflict is your polarizing. Your conflict is your creating a side out of your opinion. That's what creates the conflict. And it doesn't even matter the substantive content of the conflict. It doesn't matter what it's about. It just doesn't matter. It's the construct itself. It's the polarization. It's the me over here and you over there, us, them. That in and of itself is the conflict. I want you to catch that. We spend so much time trying to, quote unquote, resolve the difference. The difference isn't your problem. Your heart's the problem. The difference isn't your problem. Your heart space is the problem. And if you work to reconcile the heart space, see, then there's always room. There's always room for everybody. Then you start seeing more creative opportunities of how everybody and everything can come together, and then even those supposed differences don't seem so big. The intent to reconcile. See, that happens ahead of time. We wind up living our lives the same dysfunctional way that we do elections. It's ridiculous. It's like a ping pong match. This side, this side. This side, this side. And it just never gets anywhere. Do not fool yourself into believing that 51% is a win. Don't even go there to try to amass just enough on your side to tip it over. 51% is a house divided. 51% is not a win. It's a house divided. There's always a baby. Isn't there, right at the right moment? If you just gloat in getting your way, if you just gloat in winning, if you just gloat in the fact that it worked out the way you wanted it to work out, and do not take the time to reconcile with everybody else, it's going to be a very short-lived gloat. Energetically, it'll all get sabotaged, one way or another. When you reconcile, you honor the oneness. Feel that with me. You honor the collective oneness, that it's not good enough. People are hurt. They are in pain. I don't care whether you're talking about the nation or whether you are talking about your own home. Until you move to the place where you say, we're one here, there's one family, And everybody's needs have to be important. So when you go into a contentious situation, whether it's an election or it's something as simple as making a decision about where to go on vacation,